Hello! I like to cream on warm cookies, but instead of doing my favourite pastime today, I'm gonna cream on Red Dead Redemption instead. Anyway, I want to see if Red Dead Redemption is still worth getting in 2018. You might ask why I picked up the older one, and who cares about it now that the second one is out. Well, I care, because I'm too cheap to buy the new one. So lately I find that I'm more interested in discovering a missed hidden backwards compatible gem which have less of the aggressive and excessive monetization functions, compared to the grey paste publishers have been trying to convince me
I would like if only I was willing to eat a shitload of it.
But unfortunately, repeatedly eating the same shit thing doesn't eventually make a shit thing good. It didn't work when I was forced to eat Tesco's value lasagna, and it sure as shit won't work now. The dirty girlfriend that cooked the lasagna was worth eating the shit for though. Maybe EA, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers and Activision such and such should convince me to eat their shit by letting me have 3 games of chess with a dirty bird after eating it. Wait, isn't someone already somewhat doing that by paying big-breasted, low-top girls to go on Twitch?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
Fuck if I know. I'm just here to talk about Red Dead. Well, actually, I'm here to shit on Red Dead. Picking up the original Red Dead seemed like a safe bet, as back in 2012 I had the standalone zombie expansion. I recall really liking it, but as I had friends and a sex life back then, buying a game was less important to me, so I never got round to buying it. The game is still reasonably expensive for a last gen game. The Xbox store, being the chances that they are, want 25 quid for the download, and on eBay it can be picked up anywhere from 10 quid if you're lucky to about 20 odd. I managed to get a dirty used Game of the Year edition for 12 quid, that isn't too bad. Initially the handling took some getting used to. Marston likes to take extra steps after you've told him to stop, walking in a way-with-all cumbersome motion, rather than just turning immediately in the direction you want him to go. This can be quite annoying when navigating inside a building that has furniture, more importantly when you're trying to get into a particular piece of cover. The poor handling is highlighted again when you try to get that specific sweet spot when skinning animals or looting people on a surface the game isn't quite happy with. I found the best way around this was to slowly walk around the dead thing and bang Y button to try and loot it. Another issue I found with the input controls is that Marston likes to completely fucking ignore them. This is why the banging of the buttons technique is a tried and true method to get the arsehole to do what you want him to do. As well as being used in skinning and looting, it can also be used when trying to get on your horse after whistling for it. If you try to hit the command on the sweet spot, it is highly likely that you will just be standing there like a dick and your horse will just run right past you. The combat is basically an auto-aim cover shooter with a bullet time mechanic. The bullet time is just there for when you get bored of pressing and sometimes holding the left trigger, then tapping right trigger. Though I do agree the auto aim is actually needed as the default setting. Apparently so did Rockstar, as they obviously realised what a half-baked control system they had made, which is glaringly apparent when you turn off the auto aim. I've already explained the poor movement of Marston. This is mirrored by the horse, of which we will call Roach. Don't feel bad, Rockstar. The Witcher 3 couldn't make a useful, competent horse either, years after your attempt. I will moan about the horse later. Back to why the auto-aim is needed. It is nigh impossible to get a shot on target while on horseback. The enemies, of which there are commonly a few of, movement is rapid and all over the place. So imagine trying to control both of these arseholes while free aiming at multiple erratic moving targets. You have a better chance of me getting aroused by a folded omelette. To make it more fun, the button layout is as such. To sprint, you have to keep tapping A. To look behind you, you have to click and hold the right stick down. Aiming is left trigger and shooting is right trigger. The directional use of the right stick is also how you aim. Good fucking luck with doing all of that with human hands. Close quarters further cements the fact that the combat system is lazy and needs auto-aim. If you get bum rushed, or you are just being shot at from multiple directions, you are most likely going to die, as you will be fighting with Marston to go where you want him to go, and using a unresponsive manually aiming system. Enemies also stun lock you at close range if you take multiple shots, so you can't aim or shoot, you're fucked. Nothing in the settings will help you overcome this shit. This is typical of a game that doesn't give a shit about its shooting, because it's easier to have an auto-aim system than a manual one, as they would have to redesign much of the game to make the manual aim system a viable option. It's proven by the sensitivity responsiveness slider. It's either way too much or not enough. They simply don't want you to use it because it is shit. The flaws in the basic combat system are hidden well by the attention to detail and high polish. The gun noises are great and meaty, as well as the impact responses from enemies taking damage. It's very satisfying to see how they respond to being shot and blown up. This is excelled further by the bullet time mechanic. Even the sound effects of bullets hitting various objects in the environment and distant gunshots help the game become an immersive experience. Just give up and accept that the game was inherently designed to have auto-aim on. Similarly, like how games are designed to be played on normal difficulty, as all they can do to make a game harder is make enemies bullet sponges and give you the resistance of a paper doily being pissed on by every patron at a pub. If you're looking for a challenge, this game doesn't have it because it is not designed to give the player that experience. At best, there are community challenges, similar to the Tomb Raider thing, where you have to complete a tomb and do minor objectives on the way. Red Dead throws in pointless objectives when doing these challenges, so you have to take a stronghold filled with douchebags. Okay, fair enough. Challenge 1. Get a certain amount of headshots. Fair enough. Challenge 2. Kill a certain amount of people with a shotgun. That sounds fun. Challenge 3. Pick 3 desert weeds. Wait, why? Why would I do that? Yeah, it desperately throws in shit like that to give the game some diversity in challenge from killing a thing with a thing. This nicely leads us to another issue some may have with the game, of which I found myself having after about 20 or so hours. It's the activities and random events. There are many of them, but damn, most of them are limited in function and tedious. I've already mentioned picking flowers, but some of the others I find particularly annoying and pointless are breaking horses, which boils down to move the left stick left and right. Horseshoe toss I find is bloody inconsistent in its function overall. And 5-finger fillet. It's like that kid's toy of press the colour when it tells you to. These side activities are here for their own sake really. Again, the game knows its combat is only held up by its polish, so to force these distractions on the player, these activities are tied to outfit unlocks and achievements. The thing they fucked up on, which is harder to distract you from, is the terrain. It's mainly long open roads with trees and rocks. Why are the roads this way? Because they know Roach handles like shit. It does not take long from riding these routes over and over again that you will get bored. But don't you worry, there are random events of which you can take part in. But these quickly become repetitive with little reward for taking part in. So after playing its last hand, knowing that the player will eventually get bored of travelling and the events on the way, they threw in a fast travel which can be activated pretty much anywhere, so you can avoid all the tedium of travelling and the things in between what you want to do. Carrying on with the tedious annoyances, it's time to throw some sour cream on the horse. Roach. I've mentioned that the arsehole will run away from you if you try to mount him by hitting Y at the precise time, but sometimes the shithead won't turn up at all. Other times he will get stuck on things, making you have to trek to get him. Similar to how on GTA Online, when at times your mechanic delivers your car 2 blocks away. Our friend Roach also likes to wander about a lot when you dismount him. He will do this every bloody time. This gets annoying because you constantly have to whistle for him pretty much every time you dismount him and don't nail the bastard down. Where he takes it to another level is when time is of the essence. Here's a situation I come across frequently. I jump off Roach to skin something or pick up some beautiful flowers. trying to keep an eye on him as he is always after more poon somewhere.
I'm gonna go find me some butterfly poon!
Suddenly, a distressed person cries out for help. Either they are being robbed or someone has stolen their cart. Don't worry, bitch, I'm just gonna jump on my noble steed and go catch this villain. Ah, it seems as if my noble steed is off being noble somewhere else at the moment. No bother, I will whistle for him. He will be here in a flash. Yep, any minute now he's gonna turn up.
Today, Junior?
By the time our stallion has got his dick out of Granny's pie, the thief is too far away to bother chasing down anymore. The mockery doesn't end there. On some of the missions, he is nowhere to be found. A stock standard horse is waiting for you to go chase someone down, which of course has terrible stamina. Time is imperative, so screw whistling in the vain hope that Roach will turn up at some point.
But wait! There's more!
If you ride too close to the fences, the knob will assume that you want him to jump over them. I did manage to get Roach stuck in a small pen in Armadillo. By following the GPS route, he jumped over the fence, but refused to jump back out, so I left him there. Talking about the GPS system, like in GTA, it will at times direct you through unnecessary long and obtuse routes. One route the game particularly likes is the aforementioned route in Armadillo. The GPS directs you through pens for some reason when it's just much quicker to go ride straight through the main street of the town. Now, GTA has some defense for its shoddy routes, as the games have multiple routes to get to one place. I can see how it can get confused at times. However, Red Dead typically has at best 2 routes to get pretty much anywhere, but somehow it manages to pick the wrong one at times.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
Okay, at times this automatic jumping can be useful if you want to jump something but can't be asked to press X. However, the shithead refuses to jump over walls at the same height. This is a pain in the ass when you have to go to a town called Torquemada in Mexico that is off the beaten trail. It's littered with low walls from destroyed buildings. Roach won't jump over any of them, so you have to slowly navigate through the intricate pathways between the buildings' remains. You can't sprint through the walkways, it is just easier and faster to just walk through them. This kind of defeats the point of having a horse, really. It's fucking useless here. My advice for the donkeys is this: if you have a horse that is a cheeky prick and plays these tricks far too often, just kill it.
Sorry, son, the dog was rabid, had to put it down.
Onto the story. It's much like many other Rockstar games in that it's a bit disjointed in many places. Let's start with the start, as that is a good place to start. Anyway, for some retarded reason, Marston decides to single-handedly try and convince a murderous gang leader to willingly hand himself over to the law. Not surprisingly, Marston gets shot, but not killed, because there would be no game if it wasn't contrived. Still, it's really stupid. Why would Marston do this? Why did the gang not kill him? They knew he was alive because someone moved his body from where he was shot to the end of the path. Instead of killing a legit threat to the gang's leader, they for some reason leave him alive. Then you get saved by a woman called Bonnie, who again for some contrived reason is randomly going past a stronghold occupied by a murderous gang. For shits and giggles, I suppose. Why? Because someone has to save Marston, of course. But let's be honest, no peasant farmer would choose to do this otherwise. They would not take this route because there are murderous gang members there, and they wouldn't pick up half dead people from the side of the road. The sexual tension between Marston and Bonnie never lets up. She eventually gives you tedious jobs to do around the ranch, of which I blew off after completing a few of them, to shortly find out that I needed to do them to unlock a lasso. She eventually gives you tedious jobs to do around the ranch, of which I blew off after completing a few of them, to shortly find out that I needed to do them to unlock the lasso. It might be an open world game, however, you must jump through the preliminary hoops before you're allowed to go outside by yourself. From here you basically meet people that pretend they will help you get the guy that you are after, in exchange for doing something for them, pretty much killing people for reasons. They feed you this one-line bullshit for every mission. When you have done everything for them, they turn around and pretty much say, "Thanks sucker, go find this person in this town and they will help you find the guy that you're after." And well, these people pretty much feed you the same bullshit until eventually you get the guy that you're after. I heard that this game has a lot of glitches. For the majority of the game, I didn't come across any noteworthy ones, just a few clipping issues here and there, and dramatic music running for no reason. That's until I unlocked Blackwater. I found a spot where bears infinitely spawn, and I came across indestructible beavers. But this is where the game decided to take $7 off of me. That was pretty much all of my money. Annoyingly, I just completed the 5-finger fillet challenge to unlock an outfit. However, I lost most of my money, so I thought, no, fuck it, I'll just load up a previous save. 2 hours was the last save I could load up. I had all of my money, but I needed to do the 5-finger challenge again. And at that point, I pretty much put this game on the back burner. But that aside, I would say that this game is overall worth getting. The most I'd say it's worth is about 15 quid for the Game of the Year edition.